In the Star Wars universe, there are all sorts of creatures, but only a handful are considered to be Force-sensitive. The chosen few are drawn to either the light or the dark side. Those trained in the Jedi way are representations of virtue, peace, and serenity, and others are the nemesis in the Sith Order. As Master Yoda once said,
"Fear is the path to the dark side."
fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering. That doesn't mean that Jedi don't feel fear, but they control it in another way. But do the Sith feel fear? Or are their rage and anger so strong that whatever drew them to the dark side made them forget about that feeling? I don't think so, and this story is going to be used as evidence of that theory. And the main character will be none other than our favorite masked evil guy, Darth Vader. Darth Vader is one of the most powerful Sith Lords of all time. He is the main protagonist of the rise of the Empire, even though Palpatine pulled the strings from the shadow. We're talking about the guy who isn't afraid of anything, not even the high ground. But even someone as brave as him fled from a battle at one point. To say something about it, we must go back to 2008 and the comic book series Star Wars Vector. It's quite a unique story spread across 4,000 years in 12 issues. Although this expanded universe story isn't canon anymore, it is essential for our topic. The story starts almost 7,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, during the time of the Jedi exiles who started calling themselves Sith Lords on the planet Korriban. One of them was so power-hungry that he followed the path to the dark side, and his name was Karnish Muur. He was an original owner of the Muur talisman, one of the original 3 Great Sith amulets. The strength of this amulet was that it could turn anyone into rat ghouls, mindless creatures that follow only the will of the amulet's owner. Although the Force-sensitive creatures could resist the amulet, if someone gets bitten by a rat ghoul, he or she becomes a zombie. Rat ghoul. As often happens with Sith, Muur was killed by other Sith who were threatened by his power, and the talisman was lost. Many tried to retrieve the amulet, but that only caused problems, and some 3,000 years later, excavation by Mandalorians succeeded on the planet Terrace, and the new wave of the rat ghoul plague started. Jedi who came to the scene could witness it spreading across the group of Mandalorians who have started attacking each other influenced by the talisman. These Jedi were Celeste Morn and Zane Carrick, and that's when the talisman changed, because it also contained the spirit of Karnish Muur, which was his way to becoming immortal. As soon as the amulet sensed them, it decided to possess the most powerful Force user around to bring back the ancient Sith Lord, and the victim was Celeste Morn. After a brief struggle, she sacrificed herself by allowing Carrick to lock her inside some kind of ancient Sith dungeon to give him time to find the cure. Spoiler alert, he didn't find one. 4 millenniums later, Celeste Morn was still sleeping in the same cage, with the talisman and the spirit of Karnish Muur, when the big evil guy with the breathing problem arrived. Darth Vader intercepted some smugglers carrying the oubliette and instantly opened it, and by doing so, woke up Celeste. Now imagine waking up after 4,000 years and finding out that your beloved Republic is destroyed by the Sith Lords. Yes, the very same Sith Lords that try to take over your mind and body. Only a few moments after waking up, she saw the insect-shaped golden talisman on her neck and Muur's spirit inside her mind, and Darth Vader only added to the problem. Minutes later, the lightsaber duel between the Jedi and the Sith started, and Vader easily won. At that moment, there were 3 different Force-sensitive people in the story. Karnish Muur wanted his talisman to move on to the more powerful Force user, and that's the above-mentioned big evil guy with the breathing problem. Darth Vader sensed the Jedi in front of him is powerful, and wanted her to become his apprentice to overthrow Palpatine, and Celeste Morn is in the worst position, to die or betray her beliefs. And then she decided to turn everyone on the moon into rat ghouls. The tables had turned, and Vader found himself surrounded by the pack of former stormtroopers, now zombies. Even before, when he had the upper hand, Vader sensed the power of the talisman and hesitated, because he would probably become a slave of Muur inside his own mind, instead of Palpatine in the Empire. And you can't hide from your mind. And now he is over his head in zombies and maybe even death. So Vader decided to tactically regroup. When I say tactically regroup, I mean run for his life in pure dread. He took one of the last remaining shuttles and fled as far as possible. So yes, that's what you need to make Darth Vader sense fear. An original Sith Lord in spirit form, Jedi who slept for 4,000 years, and a group of zombies. Vader decided to find an apprentice elsewhere, and Celeste stayed on the lifeless moon with her faithful rat ghouls and the spirit of Karnish Muur by her side. After 2 decades, when she met someone new, her mind was already twisted by the Sith Lord, and she attacked Vader's children driven by her hatred for Sith and Jedi. Spoiler alert, they both survived. Anyway, I strongly suggest you read this comic book crossover because it's a great story set between different eras. There you can find some of our favorite heroes and villains in unusual situations, unlike those in the movies, and the future is much different than the sequel trilogy. Also, this is the only time Anakin Skywalker or Darth Vader fled from battle.